8/21/70.
Is Ray with God, Annika?
Soul Ray stands with God.
Thank you.
Now we see much turmoil in thy group because of Soul Ray's time of temptation. Many have walked backward, but now we see, yes, we see this, and in seeing this, remember, as we have said before, there shall be times when thou shalt reject us and even denounce us, and these things shall be pardoned, but never denounce or reject our Father. For remember, our Father and yours love you. Now I would ask, why then did we send to Soul Ray a message in the form, yes, we see this, and then we would say unto you, Soul Ray in his prayer and in his talking with his Father asked that he should be shown a sign, and this sign was shown, for it came from the east. Now we should say, to Sel Carolyn, we see, yes, her problem here. This soul has still the same karma over and over again. To her, we would say that a house may stand, it must not stand divided, but stand as one. And for her we would say, remember, our Father has many mansions. But you are the wife of your husband. And your husband in your life shall lead, and you may guide, and by guiding and by leading, you both shall drink from the same trough. But you can destroy nothing, for this is not part of God's work. Building upon what is there, yes, this is part of God's work. Be truthful with thy husband. And then ask of us again. Remember, we cannot answer if you and your husband do not open thy door. We may enter only into thy soul, for your door is open, but the door to your home, into which you and your children and your husband dwell, has not been opened. Therefore, that door we cannot enter. In thy prayer and in thy meditation, if thou would think of healing and of good thoughts unto others, and if by doing this thou show thy husband of thy good intent, then he also shall drink from thy trough. But if thou force this, thou shalt destroy even the door which we might enter forever and ever. And therefore it shall be again in another life that thou shalt try and reach us. This shall be all, and so Carol at this time. Now, yes, we see this. Yes, we see this problem. And we would answer your question in this way. Over and over again, we have sent you prophets, and you have destroyed these prophets. But the prophet that shall come after us, thou shalt not be able to destroy. For he shall have the power of all things, even into the smallest of things on your plane, upon your world. We also see another house that is beginning to grow back as one. Now, at this time, we should suggest again that these two souls think upon us. Our Father should answer thy question in yet but another way. You look for miracles, then look into thy children and see the miracle that we shall perform. Thou look for miracles, then look into thy wife and see the healing that we shall perform. But remember, thou must have faith. And this faith, as husband and wife, must walk together. There are other things that we would talk to thee upon, and we should speak upon. But we see at this time thou art not ready for this. Now we should answer another question. As we spoke before, in the 8th month from our coming, your water shall be pure again. Your water at this point is not and shall not be dangerous at this point to thy health, but for the prevention of future growths, continue to use purified water. All things shall come back as they were before, and life shall return into thy household again, and shall blossom and grow. For now we shall give you a rose, and in thy mind this shall be a rose without thorns, and the fragrance from this rose shall bind thy family as one. For this rose shall be the word of our Father in your home. Now we would say, go into thy Bible, read of the script. Read of the script of Paul. This is the reason we have called you. For you walked with Paul once before. But since so Paul's soul is dead and shall never return, you shall walk in his place, for you have been chosen. But this you yourself must accept. Look into your soul, cleanse it, and all things of thy prayers shall be answered. For we give you the gift of our Father. Now we see other questions, and these I must ask.
Outcome. Margot has had some very bad nosebleeds, and Margaret would like very much to know if at this time she could have a health reading, or if she could have some explanation as to what she can do about them or what is causing them. Can you give us any information at this time?
Yes, we have the soul, the spirit, and the body of Soul Margot. One moment. Yes, at this point we would suggest the giving of Litty E. Pinkham and the adult dosage. Also, we would suggest that calcium is lacking in the diet. This should be added to the diet. Also, we find that more salt should be added to the diet. A lack of salt in the diet. Yes. It should also be suggested that the purchasing of a good natural daily vitamin and be given once per day. There are many good ones on the market. Therefore, we see a child that shall soon spring into the first steps of early womanhood. Prepare her soul and mind for this time. We also find here the problem of the feet area, of a rash in this area. This is not as I think it. This is a virus. With the proper dieting, these things may be corrected. But, as we have told thee before, taking of the greasewood, boiling of this, of the leaf of the greasewood, boiling it to the point of boil, letting it cool, doing this 3 times. It shall form a jelly-like form. Therefore, adding, as I would call it, baking soda. When this application, after this application has been placed on, then placing towels over this area is hot, as the child may stand it. Then taking olive oil and briskly rubbing into this area. Then using the ultraviolet light to treat this area. Not over 5 minutes per day of the light. Overusage of this could be dangerous. Yes, we see this. We also see at this time, yes, problem of the lympho area. Yes, we would suggest massaging this area in a downward position. This could be done at home. Massaging this area in a downward position. Then, by firmly placing both hands upon the child's neck as the child lays flat on its back, stretching the neck area very gently. This would relieve the pressure in this area, therefore secreting the necessary chemicals that would do away with this entirely. Yes, we see this. We also find here mortacariasis type growth in the flambrous area. Yes, we find that this area, the drinking of the sage tea and with the other treatment prescribed at this time should take care of the medical needs of this child at this time. We would suggest that another reading be taken in the near future. We also would suggest that a life reading be given on this soul. This is all at this time on Soul Margot.
Odka, we know that you have made certain adjustments on Soul Ray. But what can be done to ease the pressure on Soul Ray's overwork? Is there anything we can do to even the pace?
These things he must regulate himself. He knows his own condition. He knows in his own mind the strain that is being put on his physical body by overworking. If that could remind him, we often remind him, but you must realize that Soul Ray in an awakening state is a very stubborn person, almost to the point at times of stupidity. Therefore, it would be suggested that you remind him frequently. The necessary adjustments have been made, but remember, our Father and us may only do and only restore, but we cannot restore those things that he should destroy. Can they understand of which we speak?
Yes, Odka. I think we can. We have this evening, Odka, requests for several various health readings. Would like a reading on Wendy Lanier, if you were a health reading. Have you any suggestions as to how we might conduct these different readings, health readings, and life readings, as to time element and Soul Ray's condition as to being tired, overtaxed? There are many requests for health readings and life readings which we haven't been able to get into our readings because of this.
We would suggest at this time that all of the health readings that I have requested, we would suggest that at every third day a health reading should be taken. Do not request a health and a life reading at the same time. These do overtax. There are times when we must give in proportion to both. Therefore, it would be suggested and would save a great deal of your time and ours that when requests are made for both health and life readings, that they be given at the same time. In other words, permission from the soul be given. Therefore, we at that time would be free to give the necessary information. Now, we would suggest that for Soul Wendy, her problem is very simple. She is pregnant. Therefore, we would suggest at this time that the taking of Lady E. Pinkham, also we find the area low in calcium. We also find a problem in the back area in the limb bone area, which should be corrected. This should be done a little at a time. We would suggest that she see a good chiropractor and these pressures be relieved. We also see the pressure here in the upper neck area. This is caused from, as I would call them, a pinched nerve system. If work was done in both of these areas, we would see a great improvement. Therefore, we could also see in this soul, yes, bring thyself closer to thy Father. Bring thyself closer to thy God. Speak to him as I would speak to thyself, that he may understand of which you speak. Remember, if thou walk through thy plane in life with thy God, thy Father, all things are possible. And we feel that at this time, when thou speak to thy Father, ask him that we may enter, and that we may give the healing that is necessary in thy body and soul and spirit. Can thou understand of which we speak? Nay,
I think so.
not fully. Thou shalt in time. We would say to this soul, let others smell thy flowers. Let others see the goodness in thy heart. Do not be afraid of this goodness. This is all on the soul at this time. I have one other reading which is important, and then thou shalt waken so Ray from his slumber.
We have had...
We find in this before us the body, the soul, as I would know her, Mrs. Powell. Therefore, we find, yes, your problem is from an old laceration in this area, the upper shoulder and down through, causing pain down through the fingertips. Yes. Taking hot castor oil, rubbing it into this area very briskly. Then applying the same castor oil into a cloth pack and wrapping this area. Then taking, as I would call it, a heating element and placing it over this area and leaving it overnight. This would greatly relieve these pains. We find another problem in this soul. We find a growth we have spoke before of this growth. Now, at this time, and we say not of another time, but of this time now, all members of this group shall pray Pray each of you in your own way. If thy prayers are strong, and if thou may walk on the water with us, then we should heal of this woman at this time. Now pray of thee. Now thou should waken so away from his slumber.